Well, we're driving through Potton. I'm on a 4-hour round trip to pick up a pair of hair straighteners my wife left in a hotel, which is just the very best excuse to go out for a 200-mile ride. I don't think there could be a better excuse. I'm going out to do something specifically for my wife, and I get to spend 4 hours on my motorbike. I mean, what more could you possibly ask for? And today is gorgeous. Look how lovely it is out here today. It's just crazy. Summer is definitely on its way. So I suppose on and off throughout today, I want to talk a little bit about sports bikes versus cruisers on UK roads, mostly because I think it might spark a bit of debate and a bit of an argument. You can probably tell which camp I fall into, and yeah, I guess a lot of it is just personal preference, and you ride the bike you got. But it's if you had 10 grand and you were going out to buy a bike today, what would you go for? And I was thinking about this the other day because my wife and I are talking about vehicles and what we're doing with them over the next couple of years and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the kind of key question for today is which is better for the UK roads right now? Is your only bike a sports bike or a cruiser? Now, there is a bit of a reason why I'm asking specifically if it's a cruiser or a sports bike as your only bike. And that's because I do think that if I were buying another bike tomorrow and it was going to be my only bike, it would probably be either an adventure bike or a naked bike. Which is amusing because what I've got in my garage as my only bike is a big heavy cruiser. And it depends on what you want to do with it. The reason why I would probably go for an adventure bike next is because I want to do more of my commute on the bike. And whilst this is perfectly fine for a commute and stuff like that, as you can probably hear from my voice, some of these roads are a little bit bumpy, and this bike doesn't have particularly grand suspension. So it's if I were to buy another bike tomorrow, this probably wouldn't be it. I'm not saying I don't absolutely adore this bike, but for the roads and for the conditions that we get to ride in good old Blighty, and how shit they keep the conditions around here at the moment, although local elections may make a difference to that, but I highly doubt it. I think the reality is adventure bikes make more sense, but the question is sports bike or cruiser. And I think you've got a couple of versions of sports bike riders and a couple of versions of cruiser riders, haven't you? And it depends which one you want to be. Are you going to be the full-on jumpsuit, romper suit, absolutely ripping around on the lanes in your onesie on your 1000cc superbike? Or are you going to go for the full-on jigsaw mode and do it in flip-flops and t-shirts? Or kind of the casual? There are some sports bikes out there, some of the slightly smaller capacity. I think the R7 probably fits that bill, where it's a bit more of a comfortable riding position, a bit more of an all-day rider. And then on the cruiser side, you've got that I want to be in a motorcycle gang rider who watched one too many episodes of Sons of Anarchy and needs their brain adjusted. You've got I'm doing it purely for the aesthetics, or the person who's doing it for the noise and the vibe. I'd like to think I'm in the latter category, but I'd imagine that there's a bit of the second category in there for me as well, because I just think these bikes look cool as hell. So go on then, which bike is it that we require as our hypothetical brand new bike? Is it going to be a sports bike or a cruiser? Because you can't have an adventure bike and you can't have a naked bike or a dual sport or anything like that. It's got to be a sports bike, and it can't be like the soft sports bike like an R7 or something like that. It's got to be full on hardcore full attack stance, so S1000 RR, something like that, Ducati V4, something along those lines, and the cruiser's got to be big Harley or something like this, the big Indian. In my opinion, personally, I would probably go for the big cruiser. I've been riding now for 3.5 hours, or 3 hours and 20 minutes, and I could do it again. And I know from experience, from riding on a Gixxer 750, I wouldn't be saying the same thing. Although there is a caveat to that, in that I'm 44 years old, and there are probably those around watching who are considerably younger and considerably more flexible than I am, who would be absolutely fine on a tucked up sports bike all day, doing your sports bike yoga. But that ain't me. So yeah, I'll be really interested to know what you guys think. It's only like a couple of little clips and bits like that today. Genuinely interested to know what people think. I'll put some clips of riding with the Chief in and bits like that. Dead happy with the lights that I put on, the little accessories that I put on. It's made this a wonderful place to be. And if there's any ideas on videos and bits like that that other people are interested in hearing about, give me a shout. But other than that, ride safe, take it easy, and I will catch up with all of you soon. Cheers. So there may be a caveat to the getting a sports bike, for sure, because I've just seen some dude on one of the new Ducatis. That does look fucking amazing, doesn't it? So Ducati dealerships open up near me, so there's an abundance of Ducatis around here at the minute, all on test rides and things like that. It's very cool. I must admit, I'm very, very keen on the Multistrada. I think I'd probably go for the V2 because, yeah, again, I don't think the V4's needed personally, and certainly not for the way which I ride. Although if I test rode them, I'd probably have a different opinion. But we shall see. We shall see. I've got a decision to make because this is a bike I did with finance, and in about 12 months time I have a choice of balloon payment, return it and trade it for something else, or just give it back and buy something completely different. And I don't know, the only bike I miss owning is the Triumph Tiger 800, and I'm wondering if the 900 is as good as the 800 was, or if I maybe go back and get an 800 again. I don't know. Or I could go for the Sports Chief, which is similar sort of bike, better brakes, a little bit better suspension and stuff like that. But I'd appreciate some feedback on which bike would make more sense. It won't be a sports bike, that's for sure. I don't think it's going to be a naked bike again like this, or like my CB650R or anything like that. I miss the virtues of wind protection, and I'm very keen to not freeze my tits off every time I go out on a bike ride. I don't know. I'll be very interested in people's opinions on it. So I've just done, in fairness, you know, in terms of mile munching, I've just done just over 200 miles on this today, including riding on the M25, M4, M1, like some real shitty, horrible motorways, but then also some nice country lanes, and this thing just eats it. The saddle's a bit uncomfortable after a while, and you get a bit of a numb ass, but there's not many bikes where once you've been sat in the saddle for 3.5, 4 hours, where you don't end up with a bit of a sore ass, is there? But yeah, I don't know. I am impressed with this bike, and every time I get on it and take it out for another ride, I always go, oh, I love that thing. And then when I'm sat on the sofa thinking about bikes, I go, oh, I'd like another one. And maybe that's the answer. I keep this and get something else alongside it. I don't know. We'll have to figure all that out, won't we? I'd quite like to get an absolute old shit box of a bike, something that I can work on in the garage and spend a bit of time playing with. Like in fairness, a beat up Tiger 800 would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Like something that's absolutely been beaten to piss with 50,000 miles on the clock, cost nothing to buy, and you just get to fix it all up over a period of weeks and make it your own. That might be good fun.